The House on Sycamore Hollow. Part 1. The Return. Eleanor Hayes had sworn she'd never come back to Millersburg, yet here she was, her father's funeral still clinging to her black dress like damp ash. The small Pennsylvania town looked unchanged red brick buildings, old train tracks slicing through the main road, and the river Susquehanna crawling like a patient grey snake. The house on Sycamore Hollow was part of her inheritance. A sagging Victorian with peeling green shutters, it smelled of cedar and something else like wet earth that had been trapped indoors. Her cousin Ruth was waiting inside, sitting at the kitchen table like she'd been there for years. "You're staying?" Ruth asked, her voice flat. "Just until I get the paperwork sorted." Ruth's eyes flicked toward the ceiling. "Don't let them hear you say that." "Let who hear me?" She didn't answer, only tapped her fingernails on the tabletop. 1, 2, 3, 4, over and over. Part 2. Settling in the first night, Eleanor heard footsteps in the attic. Old houses make noise, she told herself. But these were deliberate, paced like someone measuring the length of the boards. She checked the attic the next morning. Dust, boxes, the smell of mothballs. Nothing else. At the library, she ran into Walter Green, a retired coal miner who had been her father's drinking buddy. "Sycamore Hollow, huh?" he said. "Your dad never should have kept that place. Everyone knows." "Knows what?" He leaned closer. "That house has two histories. One you can find in records and one that's lived in." When she asked for more, he just shook his head. "Don't stay after dark, and don't talk to the man in the corner." That night, Eleanor dreamed of a man standing in the far corner of her bedroom. She couldn't see his face, but she woke with dirt under her fingernails. Part 3. The shift's days passed, and small changes crept in. Her shoes weren't where she left them. Photographs she'd never seen before appeared on the mantle, old black and whites of the house, with unfamiliar people in front. In one photo, she swore she saw herself in the upstairs window. She asked Ruth if anyone had keys. "No one needs keys," Ruth said. "It's their house. We're just staying." Eleanor laughed it off, but unease chewed at her ribs. She called a locksmith anyway. He came, took one look at the locks, and refused to touch them. "Why not?" "They're not locked," he said. "They're watching." Part 4. The Room 1. Rainy afternoon, she found a door in the attic wall she'd never noticed before. It was barely taller than her waist, with an iron latch. Something in her stomach told her not to touch it. She touched it anyway. Inside was a narrow room with slanted ceilings. The wallpaper was peeling, revealing words carved into the plaster beneath. "I remember." A small rocking chair sat in the center. It moved gently, though the air was still. When she stepped inside, the door shut behind her. The room was darker now. The words on the wall seemed deeper, fresher. She touched one of the carvings and felt a jolt like an image rushing into her head. A boy, no older than 8, sitting in the same chair, whispering her name. Part 5. The bargain. Eleanor confronted Ruth. "What's in that attic room?" Ruth stared at her for a long time. "It's where we keep what we forget. Every generation adds to it. Some people leave themselves there entirely. That's insane. It's survival." That night, Eleanor heard the rocking chair again, only this time the sound was in her bedroom. The man from her dream was there, his face still hidden in shadow. "It's time," he said. "For what?" "To choose. Stay in the living world or stay remembered here. You can't have both." Part 6. The choice, she thought of the river, the town, the way the air smelled like rain in late October. She thought of the emptiness in her apartment back in Pittsburgh, the constant noise, the loneliness. In the end, she climbed into the attic room and sat in the rocking chair. The man stepped forward. His face was hers. When Ruth came to check the next morning, the attic room was empty. Downstairs, Eleanor sat at the kitchen table, tapping her fingernails on the wood. 1, 2, 3, 4, over and over.